Thank you for listening to the Golden Hour Drip podcast with me, Logan Lee Miller. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Golden Hour Drip podcast. I'm your host, Logan Lee Miller, and I feel like this week has been similar to the episode Robots. I don't know if you remember this movie. It came out like probably when I was in middle school, high school even. I don't know, but I specifically remember that so the plot, if you don't know what Robots is a cartoon essentially, and it talks about how there is the main character. He comes from like a pretty poor family, so much so like his dad is a dishwasher. So like the robots are actually robots, right? Like the dishwasher washes dishes. So part of his body, like his job is to wash the dishes. So he like works in a restaurant and he like loads the dishes and he works super, super long hours. I'm not sure what the mom in the movie does, but Rodney, the main character, he has hand-me-downs from his other family members. So it shows when Rodney was born, right? Like they put together the robot, their little baby, and then a robot, because it's parts for it to grow, essentially like a human, like we grow and whatever, you know how a human grows. Well, a robot is different. So they would like swap out the parts. So with each age, he would like get fitted for new parts, but essentially they were hand-me-downs from his like family members. And one of the hand-me-downs that he got was from his girl cousin, and it was like a girl bodice or whatever, and he's like, oh yeah, like I think her name was Veronica. It's crazy, I've not seen this movie in so long, but his mom's like, oh, we have your new parts. They're from your cousin Veronica. She was really popular or something like that. And he has always had hand-me-down parts, and they also haven't always been like his style, what he wants to wear, right? Like he wanted new parts essentially, but he's an inventor and he goes to the big city and he is trying to pitch his big idea to, I forget the like big guy's name. It's like Big O or something like that. But he meets a bunch of other misfits, because when you're an entrepreneur, when you're like trying to make it with your big idea, it was showcasing that he came from like very humble beginnings, but on top of that, like he didn't have a whole lot. And so he got in with like there's a scene where he like gets thrown out and knocked out because he went to the like big office, right? He's pitching his idea to be an inventor, and they kick him out. They throw him out, and he like gets knocked out, or he's feeling a little like woozy because he like falls off this big building. Someone tries to steal his parts, like steal his shoes or his feet essentially, because they're robots. And he gets in with this like misfits crowd, and they're all like trying to get by. They're all trying to repair themselves, because in this movie, if you don't get repaired, you get thrown out, or if they stop making your parts, then essentially you are trashed. Like and that was the premise of the movie, like inventors, and essentially I think the main point was like consumerism, and it was a fun movie though. Like there's Aunt Fanny, and all I could think about though this past week was when one of the evil guy of robots, he was like showcasing, because he was a like big wig at the parts store or whatever. But he's rolling out this new commercial, and it's like, upgrades, get your upgrades, everyone. And I feel like that has been me this week, in the best way possible. So I broke my computer. If you listened to last Friday's episode, I broke my computer, official. My hinge broke a little bit, and then trying to fix it, I snapped the screen. And so it was very much in the same premise of robots, right? Like if you can't get repaired, if you can't get, fixed to where you can do your job, right? Like my computer's job is to allow me to type and do all those things, then you get scrapped, you get thrown away. I've had this computer for a very long time. I got it as a sophomore in college, or maybe it was my junior year. It was like in between that area. And it's been broke. So it has not been working at all now that I've like cracked the screen and the hinge. It had to be stationary, all of these things. And I took it to a repair shop. And they said, okay, great. We can order the parts for these, but it's going to be like September before a part can get shipped, and then like we'll have to repair it. And I said, okay, that's fine, that's great. And my computer is getting repaired, so it does not have to go to the chop shop like in robots, but essentially I can't wait that long without a computer, so I had to go purchase a new computer this week, which was not planned essentially. But as I was like walking out with my computer, I was like, upgrades, get your upgrades. And I was thinking, okay, like this one thing, my computer, does it bum me out that I had to buy a new one? Yes, but it had to be done. I had to purchase one because I cannot be without a computer. And it was time that I got a faster processor. It was time that I, upgraded my computer essentially. And I was thinking, okay, I can look at it from two different perspectives. I can think this really sucks. I can have like a negative mindset around it, or I can appreciate what my computer did for me in the past couple of years and how it has taken care of me, because essentially I learned how to do everything that I do on that computer. And I feel like it was my training wheels. It was the start. That's how I started recording my podcast. It's how I started to edit, or even like Canva has been a huge cornerstone in my day to day. And I remember back in 2020, 2019, even before that, like for my sorority, I was creating Canva images. I was creating intros, outros, and all sorts of things on this computer. And so it's kind of bittersweet because I know that it can't go with me to the next step or the next phase of my life. And I feel like August has been really pivotal for me, that I am moving towards like something different, a new way of thinking, a new way of life. And I can't help but keep saying in my mind over and over, upgrades, get your upgrades, because not only have I upgraded my computer, but I've also upgraded like a mindset. At the beginning of this month, I really wanted to focus on a couple goals, and I wasn't sure where I was going to land. Of course, I always want to be perfect. I want to like excel and achieve. And as I was looking at my goals and my little like check off page, I noticed where I succeeded and did really, really good. And then I also saw where I didn't do as well, where I dropped the ball or didn't have the system in place to complete that goal, couldn't finish it, I didn't do it. I failed essentially on a couple of my goals. And again, like I can have the mindset of this was really, really bad, or I can think this was good because I'm now able to like move on to the next stage. I'm able to move on to the next thing and know where I stand, because information is so important. And if you don't know how you've been doing, then you don't know how to adjust and pivot for the next week or next month or next year. You have to know where you're at. You have to know what point you are in your life. And that way, with the data of comparison, which I don't love comparison when it is more in a negative light, like if you're comparing to someone else and just like spiraling. But I think comparison in, okay, where am I at currently and where do I want to go is really important, because you know the gap. And when you know the gap of, okay, this is where I'm at, this is where I want to go, you're able to help bridge that gap. What do I need to be doing? Who do I need to become in these days, these months, these years to get to where I'm going? Do I need to implement different plans? Do I need to implement different things, habits, initiatives, who I'm spending my time with? How am I spending my time? Where is my focus? Is it, on the specific thing that is actually going to bring me to where I want to go? Or has it been scattered? Like, I think about where I want to go in the next month, in the next year, in the next 3, 5, 10 years. And at times like that can be really, really overwhelming. But if I break it down, if I can think, okay, in this little month, what can I do to help with my big goal? It helps me rationalize it. It helps me get it in bite-sized pieces that is easily consumable and that I'm able to achieve it, because it's not fun when you have this big aspirational goal and you don't know how you're going to get there because you don't know where you're at. And all you see is this huge gaping gap of where you want to be and where you are. And so with my computer, I thought, okay, like this is a pivotal moment. This is the time where this computer is no longer able to withstand what I'm needing it to withstand. Because if I think about the processing of this computer, it was very, very slow. It would take an hour plus to process a 20-minute video, and in ways that has held back my performance. And I've had to have my computer like open, or I've spent nights like waiting for my podcast to export, or waiting for my vlog to export, or getting overwhelmed because I knew that it was going to take a long time and I would have to spend more time like messing with it and finagling it. And this past week, I've only had this computer since Wednesday, honestly. Purchased it Wednesday. So this episode is going up Monday, not even a full week. And when I tell you my productivity has been exponential, it has blown away all the past sessions that I've tried to do things. And I feel like my mindset has shifted completely around how I look at spending my time. And of course, like this computer was an investment. It was something that I wasn't quite ready to pull the trigger on. I wasn't quite ready to jump, make the leap, do the thing. And I was kind of holding back, right? Like, sometimes we have to be pushed in the direction that we want to go. Sometimes it's not our choice, but the universe will have things fall apart to where we cannot remain stagnant. We cannot remain where we've been. We have to move forward. We have to get that upgrade. We have to, continue on our journey. And if we stay stuck, then we're not like fulfilling our life's purpose or our life's mission or what's been set on our heart for maybe your goals or your aspirations or what makes you happy. And so I'm thinking, okay, like maybe this was an area in my life that I was holding back on. Maybe this was an area in my life where I should have taken action sooner. And since I didn't take action sooner, the decision was made for me. And nobody likes to have a decision made for them, or at least I don't. I love having choice. I love being able to pick the direction I want to go in, pick the path. And I find when things are crumbling around me, maybe it's my computer, maybe it's a job or a relationship or whatever, any area that can be applicable. But I find when things are starting to fall apart or things are starting to change, it is a nudge in a better direction. It's a nudge to go to what is actually going to serve you and not what you have in your head that is the right direction, right? Like we can tell ourselves, oh, we're doing it exactly what we should be doing, or I'm so content with this. But really it is like stifling your creativity or stifling where you need to be going or stifling the direction. And I was thinking, okay, like this computer is one small area of my life, but there has been so many seasons of my life where I look at it and I think, oh my gosh, like I had to have a really, really hard conversation with someone and I was anxious about it, or I didn't want conflict. And that hard conversation brought me to where I wanted to be. Like it shifted my path. It shifted my direction. And those seasons in life, although they are uncomfortable and not fun, those are usually the moments that we grow the most. When we are pushed, when we are no longer able to stay stagnant, like can't stay in the same routine that we have, when we're being pushed into a different direction. And this doesn't always have to show up as something painful or something hard. Sometimes it shows up as something really good and abundant. Maybe you are looking for a new job and you get more than one offer, and you have to take a look at your choices and think, am I going to be more fulfilled if I take option A, or is it going to be option B? Or even option C? Any of the opportunities that we get and we're taking a look at them, we're like, oh my gosh, I feel so overwhelmed. I could be doing this. I could be doing that. A pivotal moment where you have a lot of options could be when you graduate college and you're thinking, when you graduate high school, you could be thinking, do I go to college? Do I go to a trade school? Do I start in the workforce? Like that is a pivotal moment where you have multiple options and the choice is yours. And when you're looking at all these options, or you're getting all these great opportunities, or maybe it's your time, maybe it's how you're spending your time and your energy, you can think, oh my gosh, like I'm having amazing people reach out to me and ask me to serve on their board, or maybe the PTA, or someone has a hobby that they're starting to create into a business and they want you to work for them. Those can be really, really amazing things, but you can't do them all. We only have so much time in the day. And if you are constantly trying to fit it all in, the balls that you're juggling are going to fall. And so you have to make a choice. You have to choose. And sometimes the universe can take things away, or it can have them crumble. And in other instances, they give you so many opportunities, and it's all to make you choose. Make you choose how you're going to react to the situation that is happening to you. If it is opportunities, it's giving you a choice. What direction do you want to take? Where do you want to go? How will you make your impact? If it's crumbling around you, sometimes it's you're in the wrong place, and I want to bring you to the right place. I want to bring you where you're supposed to go. Because if we aren't pushed in that direction, if we're not pushed to do better, if we're not pushed where we need to be, if we don't, somehow get back on track, then we could be missing out on what's meant for us. And maybe you don't like thinking about it so internally. Maybe you don't like to feel self-centered about it's your life and your decisions, and this great thing is happening for you. Because when things are falling apart, when you are not able to remain in that great career that you liked, or live where you live. Maybe you're being evicted from your apartment. They're selling the apartment complex, whatever it is. Maybe you're thinking, oh gosh, this can't be all about me. And it's not. It's not always all about you. Sometimes you are put in these situations, put in these things where you're needing that upgrade, where you're needing that shift. And sometimes it's not about you. Sometimes it's about you being in someone else's path, being prepared to help someone else. So you can think of it in that perspective, where it's not all on you. It's not all about your journey. But maybe you get fired from your job so that you can look for another job and get placed in a different career, a different field. And you can make an impact on someone who needed your special qualities, needed your unique ability to assess the situation, give and be in servitude to others. So sometimes it's not all about us, even though like we feel like it is. Sometimes it's about someone else. And in turn, like it's all about our own personal journey. It's all about the things that we are going through, how we impact the world around us, and the legacy that we live. So the entire week, I've been going through such a mindset shift, and I'm thinking about the things that I thought were going to be really fruitful, thinking about the things that I really liked, really thought was awesome. And then it like didn't work out, right? I hate it when that happens, where you feel like it's going to be this perfect idea. It's going to save all these things. It's exactly what you're waiting for. And then it doesn't work out and you're like, like, dang it. And you can become kind of closed off to other opportunities. But I love to just have that positive mindset of it wasn't for me. Better things are coming. If it's not this, what else, right? Like if it's not this thing that I wanted, what else is out there? What is coming for me? And having that open mind and that open perspective can be so strong and so fun. Personally, I do like to look on the positive side of things. I want to be optimistic. And that doesn't mean that I'm not rational, because I am very, very rational. This past week, I actually, for the first time ever, I wanted to know what my big three were. And I've seen people talk about this on social media and things. And I was like, you know what? I know that I'm a Taurus. I was born in May 8th. I know this, but like, what about my moon sign? What about my rising? And it just so happens that my rising and my moon sign are the same. And they are Libra. And Libra, I honestly, sometimes our mind is turned off to things that are not about us, and we can have such like tunnel vision. And so I know very specifically what a Taurus is. I know that we're like stubborn at times, very driven, very nurturing, very loyal. Those are all qualities that I have, but I could barely tell you about any of the other signs. I know my sister Caitlin is a Gemini, and I think the Lily is a Cancer, but can I tell you about them? No, I cannot. I don't know anything. And I feel like sometimes our brain turns off to things that aren't pertinent to us, and that's okay. But I don't even know what month Libra is tied to. I should look that up. But anyways, so it's Libra, and Libra is very much like the scales. And I thought that was really, really cool, because that is definitely me. Like I weigh out all of the options. I think, okay, is this about me, or like, is this about others? Like it's very much like the everyone else and us, and like trying to balance out, like the equalness of it. And again, like I take it with a grain of salt, right? Like, or it's grain of salt. I think that you can, of course, have different personality types than what your star sign is. Absolutely. Completely understand. But as I was thinking about a Libra and thinking about how they are the scales, and you can look at things from multiple perspectives, I was kind of hit with that this week. And I was like, wow, like even when I was purchasing my computer, I was thinking, oh, should I have a computer that has more RAM or processing, or should I have a computer that has more storage, or should I get a computer that is a bigger screen or a smaller screen? Something important to me is an SD card, but do I want to pay like an SD card where it's already attached to your computer? Am I willing to pay like more money for that feature? And so it's like weighing the options, should I go this way or should I go that way? Is this a career I want to stay in? Do I want to pivot? And I think it's really cool when you can apply that to your life, right? And again, I don't play like too much into it. I do think it's just like a fun thing to do and to know. But even putting in the perspective of when you're having to pivot, when you're trying to move forward, and you might not even attach your star sign to that, and that's completely fine, to be honest. But I was like, man, like this is very, very applicable to where I'm at right now in weighing the options of, should I be going in this direction? Should I be going in that direction? Like how does it look? How does it feel? Will I be happy in this situation? Will I be sad in this situation? And I do know with my tendencies, my personality, sometimes I do wait too long. I wait too long to make a decision. And I find this like when I go to grab coffee or I go to the store, I will spend more time weighing my options than it actually takes to make the decision. And as I was shopping for my computer, I kept telling myself, Logan, make a decision, be decisive. Your time is money. Not like I knew I was going to have to spend money. Like I didn't necessarily want to spend like over $1,000 in this moment, this random week in August. But I was like, you know what? Hey, I hope that you're enjoying today's podcast episode. Just a quick interruption to let you know that the Golden Hour Drip podcast has a monthly newsletter. You'll find podcast updates, upcoming events and information, and bonus content. If you haven't already, click the link in the show notes and join today. Now, back to the show. Me being indecisive is costing my time. And as I've talked multiple podcasts before, time is the biggest, your absolute biggest resource, but it's limited, right? Like it is your most important resource, but it is fleeting, it is limited, and you only get so much time. And so I was thinking in the store, oh my gosh, like I'm wasting my time, and that is more important than these dollars. That's more important. And it's not that I didn't make a like very specific decision. I did. It was a perfect choice. Actually, I'm in love with my new computer. Absolutely adore it. I was in between like a couple different ones, but this one is exactly what I needed, exactly what I wanted. And just having the mindset that things are always going to work out for you, that even if it's not what you imagined, it's going to work out. And there's been so many times in my life that I've had such a big expectation for how things were supposed to turn out. If I think back to high school, I had the expectation that I needed to be absolutely perfect. I needed to get good grades. I need to be liked by everyone. I wanted to be social. I wanted to wear the right clothes and do the right things. And I count some of that from like traveling so much as a kid. Like we moved around quite a bit. And so I was put into different situations where I was at a new school. I had to make new friends, or I was the oldest of my siblings. And so it was very much, okay, like your siblings look up to you. You need to be doing the right thing. And I had this expectation that I needed to be absolutely perfect. I needed to do all the right things, be the right person. And when I got to college, I kept some of that. I had the same identity. I wanted to do everything perfect. I wanted to be your cookie cutter, like stereotypical successful individual. I went to college. I majored and minored. I had 3 different minors. I graduated in 4 years, and I felt like I needed to immediately just immerse myself into a big girl job. I needed to stick with this. I needed to stay so consistent. And I remember just like having such feeling of defeat when I got to this place, when I did all the things and I was not fulfilled. I was not happy, but I remained stagnant. I did not make a decision to change. I kept in the same routine. And at that time, I was working for an insurance company and I was driving back and forth. I had no time for myself. I was exceptionally unbalanced with my work-life balance. And I just remember being so conflicted, and I started experiencing my first panic attacks. And I feel like although that was not fun and I hated every single moment of it, it caused me to make a huge decision, a very, I wouldn't say rash decision, but I had to quit. I was on the edge and I was teetering and like burnout essentially, because I had felt like I needed to do all the perfect things. I had to be excellent in everything that I did. I was burning myself out trying to be everything and do everything for everyone else, and never stopping to ask myself, hey, is this what I want? Is this where I want to be? And so I had to quit, and that was the lowest year of my life. It was horrible. I felt so isolated. I felt absolutely sad. And obviously, like, those aren't fun emotions to experience. Like, it was painful. It hurt, and it had to happen. Like, I don't believe that anybody deserves to be put in the situations that life hands us, right? Like, I don't believe anybody deserves unkindness or struggle or pain. But for me, being outside of this year, being able to look back, I know that that was such a pivotal moment for me. I needed to understand that what I wanted mattered. It didn't matter what everybody else wanted. It didn't matter what I was trying to be. I needed to ask myself what I wanted. I needed to check in with my truest self and what was important to me. It's crazy how much we put in other people's hands or the direction of our life by someone else's opinion. To just say, oh, what do you want me to do? Maybe it's your parents, maybe it's your boss, and never checking in with yourself. And so that year was a tremendously hard year, and I really, really struggled. But that put me in a different environment. Because I quit that job, I then could pick up another job. And I didn't get it quite right that time either, where I was spiraling again to burnout. But this time I could recognize it. This time I knew that this was not serving me. This was not what I wanted to do with my life. And I bounced back quicker. I quit quicker. I established boundaries quicker. And so I was able to learn that lesson. And now where I'm sitting right in this moment talking to you, I know that those experiences were so important. I knew that although it was painful, although I would not wish that on my worst enemy, I never want to experience it again. I know that it was an extremely pivotal moment. I learned so much, and I am appreciative of the woman I was and how I overcame and how I still did my best. And I give so much grace and so much love to that version of me. And it was hard, but I truly believe that everything happens for a reason. And you can take that or you can leave that. Some people don't like that saying, and I understand why, but I refuse to just think that it was a waste. I want to put it in the perspective of this happened to me. What can I find from it? What positive tag can I attach to it that I feel good about it? Because for me, if I am just like so disgusted at how I let myself get like that, or if I'm really sad about feeling kind of like I lost out on happiness that year, I don't want to feel like that, because then it would say that that year was worthless, and it wasn't. I still had good memories. I still had amazing, like, talks with friends and family. The theme for that year was struggle. And I'm not going to discount that at all, but I refuse to not have something positive come out of it. I think that life is going to happen, and you can either say it's happening for me or it's happening to me. And I want it happening for me. I want it to be setting me up in the right direction. And this past week, I had my Golden Gal Network event. We went to the preseason game for the Chiefs. It was Chiefs versus the Bears. Very exciting. I had 20 tickets, 20 seats. And I had a bunch of the Kansas City girlies just come. We ended up, and here is the thing. I truly believe everything happens for a reason, exactly how it happens. One thing I do often is I run late. I try really hard to prepare myself, and it's something that I've been working on, not to do it all, but do what is focused and intentional. Stop trying to do too much and focus on what needs to be done at hand. So I was packing up all of my things. I wanted to vlog. So I was had my camera, and I was trying not to get overwhelmed with okay, I have to vlog, and I have to pack everything, and I have to be there early, answer anybody's questions, have them all pile in my vehicle, right? I am in charge. This is my meetup. And I was a little later picking up my friend. I was picking up one of the attendants before we were meeting to carpool, because if you've ever been to a football game, you know that there is parking passes that you have to purchase, and they can get a little pricey. So we're carpooling, and I picked up one of my friends. We got in the vehicle, and I was about 15 minutes late. And I picked her up, and we got to the parking lot where everybody was carpooling, and we were the first ones there. Here I was so worried about being late, but in fact, I was still early. And not everybody is going to be always late, right? You need to put in the intention to be early and to show up as you are. But I was what was I worrying about? And one of my other very good friends, Madison's there, and we used to work together. And so we have this thing, we just have positive intent. We have positive thoughts. And so I always say, everything is always working out for us. We are the luckiest girls in the world. And I mean that. And so that's what our night started as. We were standing there. I was I don't even know why I was so worried about being late. Everything always works out for me. I'm the luckiest girl in the world. And she laughed. I laughed. And, we were taking photos, as one does, in front of the stadium. And she was wow, you look so cute. I was thank you. I am cute, right? Just having that positive mindset, because sometimes I do have to convince myself that I'm showing up beautiful, that I am worthy, that I have thoughts in my head, that I am important, that I do make an impact, that my energy and my presence is needed. So I use it as a little bit of a self-affirmation. And I don't do this to everyone. I just with my friend Madison, and every other time I say it in my head or whatever. But with her, I always say, I'm we are the luckiest girls in the world. Everything is always working out for us. And so we're taking pics. She tells me I'm cute, which I know I'm cute. Okay, whatever. So we go to the game. It's great. It's amazing. The Chiefs are losing. So it's preseason. Kelsey and Mahomes both didn't play, but it was everybody working out their kinks, right? And sometimes you need a practice game. You need the opportunity to try new things and run different plays. And I appreciate that, right? And I was talking to Madison. I was man, would you use the preseason games to throw off your competition by running different plays that you're not going to use? Would you do your old stuff, or would you trial and error? And she's I would definitely trial and error. I was good to know. But the Chiefs, we ended up making a touchdown, and at Arrowhead they light fireworks. It's really fun. Okay. but it's like pretty quick. And of course, like I am immersed in conversation. This is my Golden Gal meetup. Like the girls are here to talk, to chat. Of course, we're watching the game some, but I was so engrossed in conversation that I missed our touchdown. And I hear the fireworks. I was like, shoot, because I was vlogging, I was trying to get all the clips. I was trying to get us socializing. I was trying to get us talking, and I was trying to get parts of the game. I was like, dang it, I missed it. And then we do it again. And I knew that they had gotten, for the second touchdown, I knew that they had gotten a first down. And so, or maybe it was like first and goal or something. It was like something like I knew that they were about to make a touchdown. And again, like I had my phone out, but I got to talking. I was distracted. It wasn't like a huge priority. I was more focused on connecting with the person beside me than trying to like video this field goal, right? And I missed it again. I was like, oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me. I was so mad. And we laughed about it. But near the end, it was the fourth quarter, and the Chiefs made a touchdown. And I had filmed it. I was ready. I was like, okay, we are about there. And then there was a flag or a penalty or something, and the touchdown did not happen. They said it wasn't good. Okay, cool. Whatever. Well, at this point, some of the group had already left, like in the different carpools, and it was just my car that was still there. And I was talking to them. I was like, oh gosh, like let's just go. Like it was almost, I think we had 8 minutes left or something like that. And so we walk out, and we're at the very, very top. And there's about 6 of us, I think, out of the 20. And as we're like walking, I see that the doors to the elevator are open. And usually I don't think the elevator doors are open. So we walk over, and I was like, let's take the elevator. And so we took the elevator, which is not common. Like if you've gone to Arrowhead, the staircase is like huge, and you go down it, you walk down it. It's not like a lot of walking, but it is massive. So I was like, let's take the elevator. And the elevator came up pretty quick. We all got in. There was a nice woman there. She was like, where do you guys want to go? I said, parking, ground floor. She goes, perfect. She takes us down super quick. We walk outside the gates, right? Like we are about to leave the stadium, and I'm bummed, right? Like I didn't get what I wanted, not all the content that I needed. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? It was more important that we got together as a group. And I was thinking, I was highlighting, because I love to highlight what went well. And as we're walking out, I was like, you know what? We really did get great parking. And I look out, and I see that Kauffman Stadium is on the other side. We're walking out of Arrowhead, and I was like, oh, we went out on the wrong side. And the security men, we had literally just started to walk out of their little security gate. They go, oh, you're on the wrong side. Just go back in. Go on the other side. I said, oh, wow, thank you. And we're walking back, and I was like, how lucky is that? Like, I realized we were in the wrong spot. And Madison was talking. She was like, yeah, like I would have just like tried to find the car. And I was like, no, I remember from when we were tailgating, like when we were taking photos, exactly where the buildings were. So we walk back in, and we start to walk around. We're on the base level. We're on the ground level. And I hear cheering, and I hear the announcer say, first and gold, or first down, or whatever. And I run in. All the girls are behind me, right? Like I'm the event host. And I run into the stadium, and like the field is right there. Like I can see the field. We are so close. The Chiefs are coming towards where we are. It's not on the other side. It's right where we are. And I immediately get in a row, and I pull out my phone. They make the touchdown. The fireworks go. It was the perfect moment. Everyone knew, because like I had said, I've been trying to get a video. I haven't got it. Let's leave. And then we are set up in the perfect moment for me to get exactly what I needed. And we were closer to the field. We were in a better position than if we had been where we were. And that's another ode, or another like tally and the mark, where if you are not where you're supposed to be, you are going to be getting things that are going to position you in the right area. So upstairs or up where we were, right? Like, cause we were on the ground level. You can't get 20 tickets on the ground level for what I needed. But here we are on the ground level. And I think to myself, oh my gosh, like I'm fed up. I wasn't happy with the situation. And when you're not happy, when things are painful, maybe it's like a boss or the job or the commute or like whatever issue is like really pressuring you right now. It's pressuring you to make a change. And I was like, you know what? Let's leave. We're leaving this environment. We're leaving where we're at. We're moving to something different. We're trying for something different. And we were going to leave. And as I'm walking down, the universe and everything aligned for me. The elevator was open. There was no way that we would have made it downstairs quick enough if we had taken the accordion of stairs. So we got down to the ground level very quickly. When I went outside, I realized again, I'm not in the right location. I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And so we go back in. We walk around. And in that moment, I was where I was supposed to be. I was in the exact location to record the fireworks, to record exactly what I had been waiting for. And so many times we are going to be wishing for something. And that thing might be meant for us and it might not be. And if it is meant for you, the road will be paved. You will get those little nudges to go in the right direction. You will have everything set up for you. And we had everything set up for us. It was a perfect moment. I literally went crazy. I was screaming. I was so happy. And I looked at Madison and I said, I am the luckiest girl in the world. Anything I want, I get. And I truly believe it. In that moment, the energy, the feeling in my body was so magnetic, so crazy that I felt invincible. And from this past week, it has just been such a shift in my mindset, a shift in where I am and where I want to be going. And I know that if things aren't working out, I know that they're not for me. I know that there is something better out there. And we can be scared. We can be scared to reach out and try new things. But it's when we remain in our bubble, when we don't push through, when we say, when we play it safe, if you will, and we stay in our little bubble and we're not pressing out, we're not pressing the envelope and trying for bigger and better things, then we're missing out on what is meant for us. So if I had stayed at the stadium, I was like, oh gosh, like I'm just gonna, stay here, wait for the game to leave, not take action into the direction that I wanted to be, then I would have missed it. Or maybe I would have been talking again and not been able to capture the moment. So I have just been so reflective on the past month, to be honest. And I feel like although the days went fast, each day while I was like working on the goal, I was like, gosh, like how am I going to get all of this done? And I realized that sometimes I'm not going to reach every goal that I want, right? And most often I won't reach the goals that I want. But if I'm looking forward to the goals or, reaching for the stars, I might not get the star that I'm looking for, that I might have held so tightly to the expectation, but instead I might find a different star or get on the path that I'm meant to go on. So I have just been thinking, you know what? It's not always easy. It's not always pleasant. It doesn't always feel good, but I promise you where you are meant to go is more important than where you think you are going to go, if that makes sense. So this past week or last weekend, I was really thinking, I haven't really spent much time with my friends and I love to connect. August has been a month of like reflection and observation for me. I still had action tied to that, but there's a couple areas that I needed to like gather information from instead. And so I was like gathering things, and I truly believe that if you want something you've never had, you have to do things that you've never done before. And there was something that I heard this past week. I forget what creator did it, but she was talking about self-care. And she was talking about how self-care can be a mask for stifling your drive. And it's when people are like, oh, you need to focus on your self-care and not play into the hustle culture and not burn out, and not push forward. Like, you need to relax. You need to do all these things. And sometimes that is like more stressful when you are like forcing yourself to chill or not work on your goals. And it put it in the perspective of like, okay, some of these goals that I've written out, are these actually goals that I wanted? Or is this something that social media or my favorite creators have been doing and I want to adopt it because I want to be like them, or I think it sounds good or it sounds cool. And one of them is no phone before bed. And I allowed that to kind of wreck my other big goal. So if I think of editing my vlogs, I love to vlog. It's like one of those things that it's just kind of fun, but it does take a lot of energy. It does take a lot of time. And throughout the week, like I edit or I do things, I am making it a priority to post a vlog once a week. And I want to post them on like Saturdays, but this past week I posted on Sunday, but it's to sit down and edit. And as I was thinking, okay, like there's been some days where I've had my phone right before I've gone to bed, and it's because I was working on something, or not even phone, but a screen, like no screens before or after a certain time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, is this, like self-care inhibiting or preventing me from reaching my other goal that I want, right? Like, is this a toxic self-care where it's like, oh, I can't have these things, I can't do this thing, and putting the emphasis on being perfect again of like, oh, no phones, no screens, no whatever. And in reality, like, even if it's just one night, maybe it's a Tuesday night, I stay up, I edit, I get it done. Like, maybe I need that time to focus and complete the editing so that I can mark my goal off. And I was just thinking, oh my gosh, like there has been some goals that I might have put on my paper that were not necessarily my goals, but someone else's goals, or someone else's ideal of perfect. And again, it goes back to, you don't know what you don't know until you're going through it. You don't know how your life is going to match up until you are actually looking at it or trying. That's why I think that experimenting with your life is so important. So if it is a routine, I would love to wake up at 4 a.m. I would. Okay. And I don't know if I've romanticized the 4 a.m. wake up or what, but that is something that I always thought you had to do if you were going to be a productive wellness and routine girly. But I feel so much happier when it's more of a 6 or 6:30 wake up, when I am not super stressed of there's things I have to do. I have to wake up at 4, but instead it's like, oh, am I waking up consistently at the same time every single day? Am I getting my 8 hours of sleep? Am I reaching for my phone immediately, or am I getting sunlight before my screen? Am I making my coffee first? Am I having my own thoughts before reading about someone else's thoughts, right? Like, and that is a more aligned vision than waking up at 4 a.m. and I can't look at my phone, for multiple hours. And it's not necessarily for like the work aspect, but I find that like if I wake up at 6:30 or 6 and I get my coffee and I just make it a priority to have my own thoughts before my phone, that's important. That's pivotal for me. And I can think about my to-do list. Now, if it's not yet 7:30 or 7 o'clock, right? Like I like to have about an hour if possible, but say I know that my podcast episode still needs a cover, or what is it, a YouTube thumbnail, if I know that it still needs a thumbnail before I can put it out on YouTube, having that morning time to just get it done, even if it is only 30 minutes after I've woken up, or 12 minutes after, or 10 or 5, whatever it is, not allowing like the self-care, even though I know self-care is important. I know that putting limitations in is important. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if it is something that needs to get done, if it is kind of like, if you think of a hierarchy of goals, like, is my goal not to have my phone when I wake up because I want to look at the sun first? Or is it like a productivity? And to me, it's a productivity because I want to be able to not get sucked into social media, but actually having my phone and editing a thumbnail, I know that that's still creative. That's still using my mind. And so that is something that I think is okay. And my perspective on self-care, my perspective on my goals might be different than your goals, and that's okay. We are allowed to have our own things, our own thoughts, and it also changes with the seasons. So this past season, I've kind of been in a gathering the data, gathering my perspective, absorbing. And I feel like I'm going into a production season where I'm implementing the things that I've learned. And that doesn't mean that I'm not learning anymore, but I'm just having more action tied to my day to day, where previously I was just note taking, and now I'm ready to put it into action. I'm ready to start doing what I said I was going to be doing. And just having the mindset that it's not always going to be what it is. It's going to change. It's going to adapt. And if you can just be in the season you're in, appreciate it for what it has to offer you, and then be able to use that in the next season, I think that's the most important thing. And I love to be ever growing and ever evolving. And I might say in next month or 3 months, I'm waking up at 4 a.m. and it's great and it's amazing. And that just might be the season of life that I'm in. But just knowing that there's no wrong choice, that even if you make a choice that is not super aligned with where you want to go, it might be a little detour to learn something that you can apply in the next step. I love thinking about the like children's show, like Dora the Explorer. It's like, this is a tool that we'll use later. We'll put it in the backpack. And then, when that bridge comes up and we need a screw to trade with the troll, we have a screw in our backpack or whatever. So knowing that all the things, all the paths that you are having to go on and absorb or learn, they might be difficult, they might be hard, they might be really, really painful, but sometimes we need those tools to move in the right direction. Sometimes we need the tool or even strengthening that muscle to where we can flex it and we feel good about it, or we know that we can trust ourselves. And again, it's whatever meaning you want to assign to the period or the season of life that you are in right now. You might be ready for some upgrades. You might be trying to continue to repair whatever you're in. I find that just letting go of any expectation, and letting go of expectations does not mean that you don't have goals, or you're not driven, or you're not moving towards a goal or an achievement, but instead it's, I am going to work as hard as I can. I'm going to be as present as possible. I'm going to be positive and upbeat about whatever. And where I land is where I'm supposed to go. What I learn is what I was supposed to learn. And where I end up is the perfect and exact place that I need to be. Maybe it's not for me, but it's to make an impact in someone else's life. Maybe it's me going through this hard lesson in order to have it apply to a more fun season in my life, right? Because I'm always looking for fun. I'm always looking to have more fun and make my impact even bigger. So that's kind of what I've been going through the past week. I know this episode was a little deeper. Sometimes, my episode might just be what I'm going through. And this week it was a little bit heavier. It was a little bit more pivotal. If you listen to my Friday episodes, you might notice that the theme has shifted a little bit. And again, that just goes with August and feeling like this is a very pivotal season where things that I've tried in the past, I might be changing a little bit. So I'm so excited for the future. I'm excited for what is to come and where I am headed and all the things that just make me feel good and fill up with, positive energy and excitement. So thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. I hope that you liked it. If you did, please like, subscribe, all of the things. I really, really appreciate it. I try to post 2 episodes a week. I've been pretty consistent on this. We'll see how the podcast evolves. If you're looking for more, you can follow my vlog, Logan Lee Miller, on YouTube as well. And I'm on Instagram and TikTok. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.